Greetings, respected viewers. I'm George from Ireland. So I'm on Cromwell Road in London, and that house there, that red door, that's where Alfred Hitchcock lived for much of the early part of the 20th century. So he's well known for being an outstanding film director and film producer, the master of suspense as he's known. I don't know a great deal about filmmaking, so this shan't be a terribly long one. Anyway, Hitchcock was born in Leytonstone in 1899. That was then considered just outside London, in Essex. His father's a greengrocer. So they were a lower middle class family, when most people were living in poverty. He did quite well. He was English, was partly Irish, brought up as a Catholic, went to various Catholic schools, the Salesian College in Battersea, St. Ignatius College, the youngest of three. Anyway, he was going to be a bookkeeper when the First World War broke out. Eventually joined the army, the Royal Engineers, but he never saw combat. He was always in this country doing various tasks for the army. And then he got into film, because film was quite a new thing. Film had been invented slightly before he was born, and directed his first film in 1925. It was the era of silent films. Then he got into films with sound. So he directed dozens of films, and he got something like 40 Oscar nominations for his films. Not all for like the directing, but some of them might have been for Best Actor, Best Actress, sound, and all the rest of it. And 6 Oscars were won by his films. So later he decided that obviously the United States was the world leader in filmmaking, so he had to shift to Hollywood, and he lived in California for the rest of his life. He became an American citizen only in 1955. Of course, he was there after the Second World War, the McCarthy era, the House Committee on Un-American Activities. He was never investigated by that. There was never any suspicion that he was a communist or a fellow traveller. So he appeared to have no interest in politics, which is good for him, unless he was a right-winger. In fact, that would have been advantageous in the United States at the time. He was able to be knighted by the Queen because he hadn't renounced his British citizenship. He married, but I don't think he had any children, actually. So his religion remained fairly important all of the time, and he cared about morality in his films, only allowing nudity in the last couple of his films, not to titillate, but simply show that this woman had been raped and murdered. So they're often quite dark films, they're murder mysteries, they're quite scary. He often appears in his films about half an hour in, walking away from the camera, and as tiny speaking roles. So that is Alfred Hitchcock. Anything else to say about him? Yeah, he died in 1980. He was cremated and his ashes were scattered over the Pacific. He died in Bel Air, California. Dial M for Murder is one of his. A Lady Vanishes, Rebecca, Vertigo, Psycho, and on and on. And you get a bit of an interior monologue sometimes. He invented many cinematographic techniques, like the camera showing you what someone would see. And so you're involved, you have a character's eye view on things. So that's him, whose career making spanned perhaps 2 generations of Hollywood. The superlative director. Some people consider Vertigo to be the greatest film ever made. He worked with just about every big name in Hollywood from that era you ever would have heard. So that is enough about the rather physically unprepossessing Alfred Hitchcock, who didn't have a face to be in front of the camera quite so much. Birds, often birds. One of these nightmares inspired these things. He learned what it was to fear when he was at school, looking forward to being hit with a cane by a priest at the end of the day. All right, toodaloo.